drum. The oldest form of communication the world has ever known was a drum. On this night, the second night of Kwanzaa, we're celebrating Kwanzaa, self-determination. Think about it. You gotta have self-determination to make it in this world and be successful. Self-determination. My name is Brother Deloitte Parker, and I'm going to be sharing with you this second night of Kwanzaa. First thing we want to do is to light that candle, the candle of self-determination. Kwanzaa, self-determination. And of course, when you light the candle, that's symbolic of the beginning. You put shining a light on the principle of Kwanzaa, self-determination. We're going to move next to, remember, we got to ask permission from the elders to proceed. Do I have your permission to proceed, elders?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to light the pour the libation. Light a slow beat. Remember, they came before you and me, but they still came. The great ones, the ones who made it possible for us to be here on this day, the day of Kwanzaa. But in order for us to be here on this day, we have to have some self-determination. We have to think for ourselves, speak for ourselves, and we most definitely have to define ourselves, name ourselves, and not have others speaking for us. On this day, we pour the libation for all of those who made it possible for us to be here today. For Ruby and Deloitte Parker, my parents. For Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the great one. Martin Luther King, the great one. Malcolm X, the great one. Sojourner, the great one. Mama Jean Wilkins Denver, the great one. Let's pour this for Sister Maria, the great one. We pour this libation for Brother Zen Wali, the great one. We pour this libation for Sister Ayana, the great one. She delivered over 2,000 babies. She brought them into this world with her midwifery skills, a doula. We pour this libation for all of those brothers and sisters who lived, loved, and gave so that you and I could be here today. On behalf of S.H.A.P.E Community Center and all the elders, in particular the Elders Institute of Wisdom, and we pour libation for Elder Dr. Edith Irby Jones. Yes, we pour libation for Velda Johnson. We pour libation for many, many, many more who made it possible for us to be here today. So S.H.A.P.E, S.H.A.P.E, S.H.A.P.E. So many meanings. It played so many roles. It gave us a signal. It told us when to start, when to stop. The drum gave us the rhythm and the beat for us to move and told us which way to move and how to move. Put emphasis on the drum. The drum is our tool of self-determination. Brothers and sisters, we are celebrating Kwanzaa on tonight. We want you to join us in this celebration. So if you're at home with your family, speak a little bit to the children. Let them know what self-determination is. Let them know not to be influenced by those people who do not have their interests at heart. Let them think, tell them how important it is for them to think for themselves, define themselves, and name themselves. That's right, the second principle of Kwanzaa is self-determination. Kwanzaa. which symbolizes, we always symbolize that by lighting the second candle, the red candle, which we just lit. Brothers and sisters, we also celebrate Kwanzaa because we know it's important that we be self-defined, truly self-defined. And that self-determination allows us to shape our own beliefs and not buy into beliefs that are not part of who we are. Self-determination. When the Million Man March took place, we marched millions strong because we were determined in ourselves and our collective energy to make it happen, and we were successful. Self-determination. To achieve any measures of type of self-determination, we have to believe in ourselves. We have to speak for ourselves. Brothers and sisters, on behalf of the Elders Institute of Wisdom at S.H.A.P.E Community Center, and all of those who marched and worked with us to make S.H.A.P.E Center a reality, we say power to the people. Power to the people made it possible for S.H.A.P.E Center to be here on this day. Self-determination. Brothers and sisters, we want to reflect on something that Frederick Douglass said a long time ago. And I think it's important to note that. Frederick Douglass made a comment a long time ago as it relates to self-determination. He spoke it in the terms of how important it was. If we're going to be free, we have to determine ourselves that we're going to be free. Nobody else can determine it for us. So again, be strong, and believe in that second principle, Kwanzaa, self-determination. That as the drums speak, as the drum talks to us, the drum gets louder. It gets louder and louder. It gets louder and louder. It's talking to us now. Talk to us, drum. Talk to us, drum. Keep talking to us, drum. Keep talking to us, drum. Drum, talk to us, drum. Talk to us. Talk to us. Keep talking to us, drum. Yes, the drum has a message for us. Listen to the message of the drum. That's right. So, brothers and sisters, again, let's move to this next level. The level of strength, the level that's going to take us into the next principle. The next principle is Ujima. We're going to move there. And before we go any further, let me share with you, on behalf of S.H.A.P.E Community Center, we want you to join us in your home. Come up with some ways that you can practice self-determination. Celebration is wonderful, but practice is the blackest of them all. Think about what I'm saying. You can celebrate all you want to, but if you don't find ways to implement those principles in your everyday life, we're blowing in the wind. And we don't want to do that. We want to make a difference. So take some unity and make it happen. Take some self-determination and make it happen through your practice. Talk to your children at home and let them know how important it is for them to think for themselves, speak for themselves, define themselves, and not have others to speak and define them or define themselves for you. You have that responsibility. So let's do that. And on this second day of Kwanzaa, let's think about what we can do in our homes, in our communities, to practice self-determination. Look it up and see what it means, so that you can embrace that in your everyday life.